people that you perceive to be in charge are not really in charge. They are possessed with greed. So therefore, greed is in charge. Even if they wanted to, they don't have the heart to come together, even as a group, to change this situation. They are trapped in a tradition of greed. In this video, I will discuss where to look and the martial artist as the greatest embodiment of different types of people. That is, his powers and his roles, so to speak, combined into one pharaoh, have been divided by different groups of people. And this is why this is happening to me. So in the first 5 minutes or so, I should definitively prove to you that I am who I say that I am. Scientifically so, really. A scientific kind of methodology, as I am somewhat of a computer scientist with a degree in information technology. And I'm also the top martial artist and someone who has done quite a bit of research with over 10,000 sources and 4,000 plus videos. So, man's true natural direction. The martial artist as the leader, marshalling man as the sun. So you have the leaders of the world now want to suppress it. Now think about all the types of people that want to keep this from coming out because I become above them in their various role in the world, on their various paths. And we'll get into the 4 sides of the pyramids and the 4 paths: martial arts, science, con arts, sin, evil, and dark brute force warrior paths to try to usurp the pharaoh, who is the one true path. The pharaoh should take the one true side of the pyramid, if you will. They are not equal, not as I describe it. Okay. Number 2, the ideal man. How many people see themselves as being the ideal man for various reasons? A scientist, a poet, an artist, a philanthropist, and so on. 3, the deepest priest, the truest priest. Number 4, the greatest form of intelligence. So the smartest man, the most intelligence, having a form of natural intelligence. It goes back to coordinating the spirit, mind, body, and soul, and natural intelligence or true intelligence. Number 5, the sexiest, most desirable model man. Think model citizen, ideal man, a model. What is a model, right? What is his shape? Sharp, on point, masculine, clean, but not pretty. Number 6, the most graceful, to be distinguished from stylish, yet most stylish and sharp. Number 7, commands respect, especially with presence. Now don't look at my style for that. My style has been reduced. Think about stumbling blocks versus what I'm able to project to the world or show the world. Okay, so 7, he commands the most respect with his presence and his martial arts spirit. Number 8, the most harmonious with nature. So everyone trying to be a liberal kind of natural person, tree huggers, Snow White type of people, and so on, right? Yoga, Buddhist, all this, and so on. The martial artist in the African tradition is the most harmonious with nature, because to find oneself, you have to go back to the beginning. Who am I? I am an African. What caused people to leave is symbolic of leaving themselves, their African selves, as they left the African land which they were formed from. Okay. 9, the most courageous. Think about all the people who want to be seen as the most courageous, from military personnel to extreme sports and so on. Number 10, the most in spirit, thus the most transcendent. 11, the most likely type of person to take man from animal existence to higher thought and consciousness. The animal moved with harmony, yet thought deeply, quickly putting things together. So the animal had to live as an animal, moving, hunting, surviving, picking food, and so on. But also to think deeply. This is much more like a martial artist than a scientist. Again, the 4 sides of the pyramids is the truth and the light versus ignorance and dark. True martial arts, true science versus con arts and sin, ignorance, darkness, and dark brute force warriors. So all these sides lead you to the perspective of who's the top who should be on top. When you follow that path to its finish, it leads you to the perspective. It leads you to where to look. If you're the most effective sinner and con artist you can be, if you're the most effective dark brute force warrior you can be, you must understand the competition. The highest competition you have is a martial artist who moves with precision, strategy, speed, and physical contact. How can this brute force warrior beat this person in natural combat to claim the top martial artist position, right? The scientist understands it. The top light temple artist understands it. The con artist and so on, the sinner. So that leads you to where to look. The heart, insight, mind, body, and soul. Well, let's think about this. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Mary, Jesus, Jesse, David, Solomon, Jews in general, like father, like son, eugenics, right? Science. The self-direction of humanity. First, we must understand the natural direction and then deviate from that based on natural laws, right? That science is bound by one way or another to then become this kind of satanic direction of society. The Jews in general. So we have to think about reproduction, regeneration, you know, people breeding in the right direction to know where to look. So where do you look for the sunrise, right? If I was going to look for the sunrise, I'd kind of say, well, every morning the sun rises around there. So I'd look there. So this has to do with that, right? So let's look at light temple sacrifice and works. You know them by their works. We know where to look by the patterns of nature, by the works, by the similarity with the spiritual masculine light energy, the righteous indignation, the powerful strength of the scorching heat of the sun, and the gentle touch of the sun as it works us just right to marshal us with its love and righteous indignation to bring us into being and to sustain us. The Biafran sacrifice for God makes all other group sacrifices pale in comparison. So to not look in Biafra first makes you a fool. Every wise man looks to Biafra first for this reason. This is a profound light sacrifice for God. You can have 100 billion people in a nation of moderate yin-yang type of people. And this is not where to look. You need to look where the sun is intense. The light and the love and the truth is the most intense. We don't look at night for a star for the sun. We look during the morning, the sunrise, at noon, etc. Okay? The sun on the flag of Biafra is another sign. The martial arts prowess. I mean, who is more martial arts gifted, gifted in a martial arts sense than the African leopard society and the leopard warriors, the Ikenga, the Chuku warriors, the Ekumeku, the Igbo martial artists? Who is like them? Even without martial artists, this Igbo kind of boxers can lay out martial arts. Muhammad Ali, Tyson, even without it. But once you think of strategy, speed, and physical contact, the ability to outmaneuver and strike surgically, well, now we have to look for a brain surgeon type of guy of enormous stature who can balance that muscle memory, surgical incisions, natural brain surgery, not technology. Stumbling blocks of the racial struggle and strife in the 60s and 70s. My dad came here in the late 60s. And became a brain surgeon that married a white woman. He is the greatest embodiment of the people who embody the light temple the most. This is logic. This is reason. This is not delusions of grandeur. It's more logical to say that Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson suffer from delusions of grandeur related to their boxing prowess than I suffer from delusions of grandeur related to my martial arts prowess. Focus. Think clearly and listen to my argument and acknowledge who I am. The greatest form of disrespect is assigning too much or too little to someone. You have to give them their rightful place. So you don't make a fool out of them saying, oh, Donald Trump is the Christ return, right? That is not giving them respect. You're making a fool out of them. Saying some weak coward is the top martial artist, some presentation bitch, some Hollywood star. You're making a fool of them. Know where to look. Reason and faith. The leopard as Ra, the followers of Haru, a man of great stature who used hawk range, mountain range, a range, he marshaled in society. Mental success. I am my father's namesake. He had the insight, and he also had the insight to name the top martial artist his namesake. It works both ways in that sense. He created me. He named me, and I became this. African continuity of natural truths. Where is the light temple? We are the most successful group of people intellectually and academically in America as a group. The Igbos from Nigeria. Mental success, physical success, spiritual continuity, righteous indignation through martial arts, spiritual success, soul succession, successor, success. One of the biggest Christian tribes, if not the biggest Christian tribe in the world. The heart of Africa, its soul, its center. Biafra. God's names before Christianity. Chukwu was God as expressed through the Son, a creator God whose strength is spiritually expressed through the Son. The shining star of Igbo then becomes where you should look. $2 million in charity. My dad is heavily burdened with debt and so on, stumbling blocks all around him because the people who know where to look, the con artists, the brute force warriors, the scientists, the martial artists, everyone is trying to suppress this so they can shine in their lanes. And remember, I went over what those lanes are in the beginning of this video, right? So the royal family of Biafra, the charity, the great warrior statue complemented by grace and light spirit, the book my dad wrote in, the Dalai Lama wrote in the book of the true meaning of wealth. Why was my dad chosen by non-Igbos to write in this book? It goes back to the 4 paths that lead you to the perspective and the understanding of who should be on top of the pyramid. And based on your path is what you should do about it, right? My top martial artist challenge. You would have, if you followed that path, you would have followed me into the videos. You would have seen the videos. You would have seen my speed, my world record speed before they slowed it down. 15 hits in 1.2 to 1.4 seconds from Deontay Wilder's boxing range with karate Spartan gloves on. You would have seen the 15 witnesses and the signs, the dehydration, the weight loss, okay, the blinding, okay, the irrefutable signs. And the prescription, eye drops. Okay, so a lot of people have the "you cannot touch my heart" looks on their face, eugenic and racial society that we live in. Greed is the spirit. Okay, the desire to placate demons and demonic people to live in peace is the essence of Satanism, outside and within. The demons outside and within. The last snare on that path is trying to placate the demon of self-righteousness, and that means not being a true believer and just dying for a principle. Okay, if you don't really believe in the principle, but you're trying to be adverse to the bitches and you like the idea, but you don't really believe in it, that is also a snare. It's the last snare before you reach success, where you have to die as a true believer. You spiritually understand, not just the spirit of adversity to enemies who make you feel mad, but faith with obedience. The highest form of it in the presence. The highest form of treachery is denying the top martial artist his rightful place. You must destroy your idea of race and return to African light spirit generation and know where to look spiritually and follow that path. The reality, so you have to face the reality of being beneath the most stigmatized people in this construct of your race-based social norms. The greatest embodiment of an almost pure black Igbo, my father, marrying an intellectual white woman, which then makes my mother the greatest embodiment of woman at the time because she knew where to look and followed followed with her heart. So the top martial artist, son ushering in the age of Aquarius, sharing the will and the will of God. This is the stone that they're going to reject to then usher in their age in their demonic fashion, right? If man lets them, which it looks like they will. So, the greatest embodiment of a white woman, of a woman marrying the greatest embodiment of a man, him creating me, right? It was her heart that showed her it, not scientific calculations.